fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got tracks and he's going with the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God!
Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get involved.
It's very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God!
God, what?
Improvement, but of course you got to look at that Trans-Tasman trio 2, 3 and 4.
Yeah, that's it. Good evening, everyone. Really, I think Harley will be looking forward to putting it together tonight. He didn't put it together last night, and he's taken the first step tonight and putting it on pole position. But Sam Sutton has actually just come in with a late qualifying time to split up that Trans-Tasman train. At the moment, it sits Harley Haber, Richard Hampstead, Sam Sutton, Madison Down, a man who the last few weeks, speaking of not being able to put it together, hasn't quite been able to get it done, with his very fast teammate Jake Maloney behind, and our current championship leader, I believe, in James Scott just behind.
Yep, in 6th position, and this is crucial to talk about the championship at this point in time. Without drop rounds applied, it is James Scott who has that championship lead by a very comfortable margin, almost 200 points here, Burton. But the big caveat to that is that Madison Down has one less week counted at this point in time due to the fact that he missed the opening week of the season. So, for Madison Down, yes, one drop round's gone, but 190-odd points, that can be made up.
Yeah, certainly. And Madison's had a very consistent season. We say he hasn't put much together, but the truth is he has. He just hasn't quite managed to get the wins that he so desires and is so known for in this official series here on a Monday night. So it's really exciting there. Brady Myers, another guy who we've seen have a couple good wins this season. Wayne Burke jumping up the field as well, sitting in P9 at the moment as well, I believe. And Kurt Stenberg's there as well.
Yeah. So this is how the grid's going to stack up. Harley Haber will be on pole position, 103.980. He's got Richard Hampstead alongside him. Then it's Sam Sutton and Madison Down on row 2. Row 3 sees Jake Maloney and James Scott. Wayne Burke starts 7th with Cooper Webster 8th. Brady Myers in 9th and Kurt Stenberg in 10th.
Well, Sperry, Haber, Hampstead and Sutton into turn 1. I think the foreshadowing is starting to intensify a bit here, but Jack Boyd sitting P11 with Jordan Caruso 12th, Tom Freer 13th, Thomas Hinns, who I believe am I right in saying we have a bit of a camera of tonight that
Yes.
we might be able to get active and see Hinnsy at work on P14, Clint Smith in 15th, Damian Johnson 16th, Andrew Dyson 17th, with Sean Thompson, Adam Briggs and Jamie Stovold rounding out your 20.
And then those in the final few positions here, you got 21st Brian Borg, Justin Wallace there in 22nd. Then you got Rob Bowden and Jamie McKnight, the team boss of United. Steve Jansen, Wayne Hewitt, Jack Widders, Sam Collins, and then Christian Smart rounding out the 29-car field and validated his second lap. So a 105.9 only for him is 2 seconds off of the pace here at Oran Park. Some of those who have been at the front have already put 96 laps around this place yesterday. They've only got to do 36 today. That's going to be crucial. This is a one-stop race that many people will be looking at. And hoping that it is going to work out for them today, or actually potentially could be a zero-stop race that we could be looking at here today. I think it's the latter more rather than the former, but Haber had a great start yesterday. He'll be wanting to from a better grid position here today at the front, but he knows here as the green flag drops that this has got to be a really strong run here into turn one. Great starts though from the second and third, fourth rows even there as the likes of Webster and Meyers both get off to stormers here as they charge towards turn number one. Haber is unchallenged as the front drivers go through. Here's Sam Sutton down the inside of Richard Hampstead trying to get the move done, and ultimately not happening. Still some side by side here as Brady Myers wants through, but of course Hampstead cannot let off here as he's got the inside at turn three. Sutton trying to go around the outside. Here comes Mads down the inside, looking at two for the price of one at turn four, and he's still not got the guarantee.
That's it, good racing up the front. A bit of a gaggle as they're going up the hill. I think that was Richard Hampstead struggling a bit there, and he now goes door-to-door with Brady Myers as they're 3 wide behind, settling down to 2 wide. Hampstead and James Scott now. Hammer's going to have James Scott clear, but Sam Sutton pushes his way through, and there's
no. Big trouble then as James Scott, the championship leader, is turned around then, down at turn number 9. He does a flip spin to get going and Smarts runs into him after his own issue. So James Scott very much playing pinball at the start of this race. He's now got all the work in the world to do to get himself back up through the field. This is how it looks though after a lap. Haber leads, Madison down second, Maloney up to third. Webster is up 4 places into fourth. Talk about gainers. Other gainers, Jordan Caruso, Tom Freer inside the top 10. Battle behind though, because here comes Berkey, who's really using his car as a weapon at the moment. Danny inside of Kurt Stenberg. Steady, with no chance really to fight back here at turn 3. Still has to have the nose on the inside though. He's got the next 3 corners, next 2 corners out of traction.
And he's going to drive it in deep though. He's just about got it down the inside, and this is going to be moved done. I think this is slowing both of those guys down. Unfortunately, that incident that landed James Scott in the fence, it kind of started with Wayne Burke. He had to check up, and I think he got collected from behind by Jack Boyd, which sort of triggered that whole thing off. Incredibly unfortunate for James Scott, our championship leader. But looking up forward, in terms of the front pack, it's probably one of the cleanest opening starts to a race I've ever seen here at Oran Park.
Replay then of what has happened to James Scott on this fight, brought to you by Motion Simulation. There you can see side by side contact. He gets sideways and he just about saves the 088, but Wayne Burke on the inside there, a big amount of contact, and crucially keeping it out of the tyres was James Scott. He did well to get the car turned around. There was another one there. There's the yellow machine, the 29 car getting turned around as well, but Christian Smart running in as well. So there's Andrew Dyson, who's down on pit road as well. His day pretty much done. Look at Cooper Webster though, all over the back of Jake Maloney in the fight for 3rd position, but through the long right-hander up over the Yokohama Bridge. There is just a couple of tenths of a second that goes begging here with the 2 different styles of racing that these two have. Cooper Webster is smash mouth in your face. Jake Maloney is very much more a considered and measured driver.
Yeah, that's it. I'm really impressed with the first lap that we saw from Cooper Webster, but taking a look back to Thomas HINSS, our webcam driver tonight, looks like he's made a bit of a move up through the flip-flop, side by side with Damien Johnson all the way through that red tech. And big smile on his face, Sperry.
I think he's happy about that one, but he's not got the guarantee, because here comes Wayne Burke back at him. So Hinsey, who's normally a stonewall face, he's gone straight on. He's made the mistake, straight on he goes, and he will drop 10 places at least as he goes on through. There will be the smile wiped off of his face. You can see it right there, a shake of the head. He was not very happy at what he's done with that Mustang.
Yeah, common error to make down here at Oran Park. Turn 1 is right on the limit, and really there's only one line to get through there. So when you go through there too wide, get up on the marbles, you can lock a brake so easy, and that he's actually done well to keep it out of the tyres there. It's really easy to make the fence when you go off.
Absolutely, he's done a fantastic job to keep the car pretty much pointing in a straight line at the moment. Brady Myers in 5th position is under some pressure at the moment. There's number 3, Richard Hampstead, there in the Trans-Tasman Racing Machine. Sam Sutton is just behind him right now as well. So this is a 3-car scrap going on as they head into the left of 1 and then into the left again of turn number 2. And on the brakes they go. They do not have themselves another left-hand corner on this track until they hit turn number 8. So many right-handers, one after another after turn 3, Burton.
Yeah, that's it. This is a really unique lap, Sperry. I wouldn't mind at some point jumping on board with someone and taking a bit of a ride around here. Obviously, the bridge and crossover is something unique to very few circuits. Suzuka, another very popular circuit that had it. Unfortunately, Oran Park is no longer with us anymore, but this track was just so well suited to these supercars and definitely a driver's favourite.
Absolutely, and you cannot really question just how good the racing is here at Oran Park. Even though it doesn't exist anymore, its legacy will always live on. Meyers runs wide through the final corner. Hampstead now with a good opportunity here to put on the power and get that draft in towards turn number 1. Is stuck at a car length back and really right up there looking for the inside, hopefully, for the move. But again, I thought that may have been the chance, but he's going to try and get it done at the second part. But look at how well scouted it is by Brady Myers. He knows the Hampstead playbook. They used to be teammates.
Speaking of someone who also used to be teammates with those two, Sam Sutton is looking very hungry on the back of these two. Sam got a bit of a run out of turn 1 as those two were fighting. Sam's pace is looking really, really good lately. He's really seeming to settle in well over at OPR. Seems to be happy with the setups, happy with how he's driving. I don't think he quite unlocked his potential last night, but he's certainly trying to push through the field tonight.
He absolutely is. The gap at the front of the field is 1.5 seconds for Harley Haber, who leads this one over the legendary Madison Down in second position right now. Maloney third, Webster fourth, and then the Myers battle 5th, 6th, 7th. You are looking at on your screen. Other little battles out on track. There's this one for 13th and 14th. Adam Briggs, top 10 last night. He was incredibly happy with it. Both himself and Jack Boyd sliding it through the dogleg, but Boyd there with a wider line is just going to pinch off at the exit. Adam Briggs, you had to lift there for fear of running into the rear quarter panel, so as such, the move not happening here into turn 2.
Yeah, that's it. We saw those slides off the dogleg there. One thing that iRacing has made a lot more realistic with this car with the V7 tyre model is how it responds when it hits the sand or the grass. Oran Park's one of those tracks you don't have a lot of runoff at all, meaning
Thompson.
that when you're...
Yeah, when you're running it, it's doing well, but look at Shaun Thompson. He's gone straight on at turn number 1. He has missed his braking point, and, well, you were just talking about how the car reacts under gravel. That's tyres as well for Shaun Thompson.
Yeah, that's it. So as I say, turn 1 was hard enough on the lesser realistic tyre model we had before, but now it's full real-life consequences. You run it wide down there into turn 1, you're going to make the fence. And I'm seeing some contact in the midfield a little bit as well. Justin Wallace and Jack Widas going at it back in the field. Well, Jamie McKnight just looking over those.
Well, it was wide went Jack Widas. This is where it all started. So Justin Wallace went wide, so the two come together, and ultimately no positions will be changed at this point in time, but that was close. And of course, Justin Wallace, remember, super split 2. He was up as high as 2nd for the majority of that race before it all just fell apart for him. So he's hoping that there is something in the offing. But remember, they do not have as much leniency as they would have done one night ago, because they do have to deal with incidents, and that's Jack Boyd around with Adam Briggs, who's going to take the north pit lane, so to speak, as he went through redressing the position, knew what style of move it was, and he funnels himself in behind. And I need to remember to put my teeth in because I've forgotten how to speak for a couple of seconds there.
Yeah, quite a popular go-kart track there, Sperry. Obviously, before this place got knocked down, it held, national karting titles as well here. I was unfortunate. I was not fortunate enough to have been able to race here, but a lot of my friends were, and that little section all on the inside of the sort of top loop of the circuit there is actually a go-kart track that, as I say, held national titles. But I'm looking at James Scott at the moment. He's a guy I talk about a lot as being someone who makes the most of his bad days as well as his good days, and at the moment...
Oh, look at Sam Sutton here down the inside of Richard Hampstead. Has he got it for the next section? Yes, he has. Sorry to cut your thunder off like that, Burton, but Sam Sutton's got a great move done on his former teammates.
Yeah, Sam knows Richard well. Really nice, classy move there, and now he puts his eyes forward to Brady Myers. But yeah, James Scott really capitalising on some of the mistakes that have happened on behalf of others in this race, and he's starting to really put the pressure on HINSS as he's too wide with Jack Boyd up the top of the hill.
Oh, and you can see Jack Boyd struggling at the moment, again on the outside, being freight trained. And oh, Scott there on the inside, there wasn't room to go through. More contact between them. Scott decides to languish a bit behind, and there is Briggsy trying to find a way through. And well, it doesn't matter what kind of a brigadier you are, you're still not finding a way through at that point on James Scott up the hill to the final corner. And James Scott has to stay calm and get as much as he can from this race.
Yeah, that's it. I'm not too sure about that one there. I think, to be completely honest, James Scott probably had a bit of an overlap. I just don't think that Boyd was there, but it looks like we've had Richard Hampstead, one of our race front runners, going off the road. He came too wide with Sam Sutton off the last corner, and those two came together, and I think Sam's just put one back.
I think he has, so we're going to get a replay of this, and it was down into turn number 1. Sutton carrying a lot of speed, looks for the inside, and just can't check it up enough. Hampstead gets a hip check, and he drops a number of positions. He's now behind Tom Freer into 9th place then in this race. Here's the look at it then, and Sam Sutton, you can see right now, he's back a couple car lengths. You don't often see that move happen, but he's just got so much speed here he's trying to carry on the brakes, and he just, I think, uses Hampstead there as a bit of a marker.
That actually started the corner before Sperry, so Hampstead's had a big bomb down at the last corner, and he's pulled it up, to be fair, and Sam's given him room, but on exit, Richards got on the power and just fed him into the fence, and I don't think Sam's liked that at all, so he's given him a bit of a retaliation hit down at turn 1, which you could argue whether it was deserved, but with Sam and Richard, no surprises.
No surprises at all. So Sam Sutton ahead in the position. He's now got Jordan Caruso behind him, which is going to be an interesting little scrap of the old guard against the new guard, so to speak. We'll see what Caruso is able to do. Here's some side-by-side, though. Stovold, Janssen, and Hinsey. Hinsey is charging down the inside of Stevie Janssen. Hinsey goes looking for another place, and he gets it done for 17th.
Yeah, that's it. Hinsey will obviously be livid after that mistake he made earlier, but as we said, Sperry, he didn't make the fence, which means that car shouldn't have any hits on it. That should be straight as should be. So eyes forward for Hinsey. Now he puts his eyes onto Stovold.
He certainly does, and Jamie Stovold, of course, one driver who will be developing quite a bit right now, as we are looking right now here with Thomas Hinds through the final corner. Let's go on board with the RA2 Racing driver, as he will look to try and make this move very soon on on Jamie Stovold. But Burton, take us through a lap here of Oran Park with Thomas Hinds.
Yeah, so these cars don't like curb braking zones without ABS, so you got to try and straighten this second part as much as you can, and he's going to throw it down the inside while we're on board, down to first gear. Manages to get the power down without contact. Good effort there, but as you come down, he's going to have a go again. In second gear, down the inside, it's tight. You need to get the power down here, Hinsey. If you throw it in deep here, you'll be able to basically slide job and have him cleared up the hill, which is exactly what Hinsey's done. Nice move. But now as we head up towards the top of the hill, the car gets light over the crest. You wait for it to grip up in sort of third or fourth gear here, and then you've got a weird flip-flop. You got to be careful on exit here not to drop a wheel into the grass as we brake for turn 8, as we turn left for the second left-hander on the track. Then we head down to the flip-flop. The car's going to get light over the top. Riders are on the limiter of fourth gear, and then we brake downhill for the final corner, long corner with a crested brake, acceleration zone rather, so the thing wants to get light, but Sperry gets the power down. Not Sperry, rather. Hinsey gets the power down nicely.
I never got the power down, Burton. That's why I'm up here and I'm not racing. I can never get the power down. But still, you look at this point in time. Look behind Stovold right now. 5-car melee down the inside. Janssen trying to sneak one like a ninja. There, trying to get the move as Boyd behind has a little bit of a wiggle. It looks every which way for Jamie Stovold, but he is going backwards around the outside. He's got to go for 4 corners around the outside here, does Janssen. It's not often that's the right move. Has to fall back into line, and he's fortunate there. And look right in the back of that pack there, trying to sneak away through on Briggs. Jack Widders getting in there. Go on, son.
Yeah, that's it. This pack is quite interesting at the moment. Another guy that I'm looking at is James Scott. He was really into the back of Jack Boyd there as he tried to make his way past Janssen, and Janssen's going to lose 2 in 2 corners, but Janssen and Scott too wide on the way up to the flip-flop. Are they going to hold it? This is risky business.
Well, Tom Cruise couldn't have done that move if it was risky business. Contact. And that is the car of Jamie McKnight making contact with Jack Widders. Poor rejoin. And straight into Sam Collins. That was a bit of inexperience from Jack Widders. Hold the brakes there and let everybody go around you.
Yeah, that was easy mistake to make, especially if you run on single monitors or something like that. You don't quite have that field of view. This is where the benefits of sort of a triple monitor or VR setup or something like that matters. That's really unfortunate for Samuel Collins, complete innocent bystander there. But that all started at the flip-flop. Steve Jansen was just getting freight trained, and he had Jack Widders down the inside, but Jamie McKnight wanted to make it 3 wide, and it just didn't work.
No, it certainly didn't at the moment. We are on lap 15, ladies and gentlemen. Out of 36, Harley Haber. Lead is 1.4 seconds, minus a little bit of spare change at this point in time. But slowly reeling that gap back in is Madison Down, who is going 100th by 100th here against Harley Haber, knowing that Harley is a very perennial hard user of the tyres. We say that so often with his style of driving, and this is what brings Madison Down into the fray. Someone who is a very good manager of a race and is effectively like the Tom Brady of supercars, because he knows exactly what he is capable of doing. He just waits for that 4th quarter and hits.
Yeah, that's it. And those familiar with Madison will know how big of a fan of this circuit he is. He spent a lot of time here as a kid, lives about 15 minutes away. I've actually walked around the location of this circuit, or where it used to be rather, the township, with Madison, and he really loves this place, so he'd love to get a W here, but at the moment he just hasn't quite got the pace for Harley Haber. I don't envy the guys who ran 93 laps green here last night. We struggled to even commentate a lap. It's just so busy. So for Madison Down, making, you know, we're not even half race distance in this race yet, so being able to put the head down, not make any mistakes, and then still pull those hundreds in on a very fast Harley Haber is a really hard yards effort for Madison Down.
Jack Boyd really looking angsty at this moment in time. He's trying to get by Jamie Stovold still here for 17th place. This is the biggest scrap on track at this point in time. On the brakes they go. Turn 1, turn 2, championship leader pulls up behind. And actually James Scott's got to be really careful in this fight. Not because of the fact that he is in the middle of a scrap and he's fighting people he doesn't normally do. He's got to be careful because of the fact there are only 17 incident points before a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, that's it. Ultimately, you will take a bit of risk if you're James Scott. It can't really get much worse. This is just about a drop round for him, even where he is. But obviously trying to preserve that safety rating, although we do have the Nürburgring 24-hour this weekend, Sperry, if you want to go do some farming of some safety rating.
Oh, you absolutely do. And of course, you can catch all of the brilliant action that goes along on the iRacing Esports Network. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We are really close to 40,000, if not already over it. So keep on finding yourself some more great content brought to you by all of the partners that join on the network. But Richard Hampstead right now looking at 8th place here with Tom Freer just in front. Freer had a horrible round last night in Scots. He was off the track no more than 3 times. He said to me after the race, his vehicle looked very much like the world's most expensive lawnmower.
Yeah, that's it. And this battle with James Scott is looking more and more exciting. He's actually going to have a move here on Jack Boyd. Is he in the seat? That's a slide job, isn't it?
That's a great slide job, and more importantly than that, Adam Briggs has run into contact and couldn't get through on Jack Boyd as well.
Yeah, that's it. Jack Boyd's making a bit of a habit of himself in this race, to quote DJ Snake, of turning down for what. I think he was definitely, Briggsy was deep, but he was definitely there, and he's just had his nose cut off, so yeah, it's not looking good. But Sam Sutton looking up towards Brady Myers. He's dispatched of one of his ex-TTL teammates. Let's see if he can get...
He's wanting to get another one, but at the moment, Brady Myers is not in position right now to really be attacked on at this point. You know that Sam Sutton's just going to play that patience game and wait. Here comes Hampstead, though, down the inside of Tom Freer, and the pursuit man has nothing on the exit for him to turn 4 to consolidate the position, and that is a well-made move. Is there an up and under attempt coming, though, from Tom Freer? He's trying to nose his way back to the inside, but again, not quite enough to get that one all sorted out. Behind that, though, you've got Scott and Stovold having their scrap as Rob Bowden loses the position to Thomas Hinds. Again, another place for him, and again, no move for James Scott.
Yeah, that's it. I think James Scott's really battling to get that car rotated. He's obviously got a lot of damage from that first lap incident, that's clear. But yeah, he just looks like the thing's ploughing a lot off the mid-corner, and he's actually just had a bit of a slide. This is going to leave him vulnerable to Jack Boyd, although there's not much at this part of the racetrack that Boyd can do. But it's going to leave him very open at the last corner. It's a very common dive bomb corner, but Scott's got a good run through the dogleg and another slide up off the top. You can really tell that James Scott's battling a wounded race car at the moment.
Well, you can tell he is subscribed to Commitment Plus, which is, of course, the subscription service to Commitment at this point in time. So he's doing a great job into turn 1, turn 2 to battle that vehicle, which does not look like it has seen its best days at this point in time. But, of course, now you've got to look at this battle between Hampstead Freer and now Wayne Burke here in 10th place. He's just trundled up onto the back of this pack, took out a whole second on Tom Freer that last time by as he was being overtaken. So as they are well over the halfway stage of this race, you now start gearing up. Okay, what's my end game?
Yeah, that's it. I think Richard's probably going to dispatch Tom Freer here pretty quickly. Remember, he had that incident with Sam Sutton a few laps ago, so he's definitely out of sequence. Tom Freer's putting on a nice little race here, up from 13th to 9th, so he's not doing too bad. Just take a look at some of the other movers and shakers in the field. Brian Borg actually hasn't had too bad of a night so far. I think he just might have just lost a spot, but 21st to 14th at the moment for Borg.
Well, he is just behind Clint Shane Smith in this fight for 13th. There's Clint, very much a perennial figure when it comes to the dirt scene in Australia. He is probably one of the leading lights when it comes to that sort of scenario, but he knows better than anybody else how to defend as Clint Shane Smith. He's been doing it on the dirt for a very long time, but both of these drivers know that there is a hurricane coming up behind them, and it is, of course, a face like thunder, Thomas HINSS.
Yeah, that's it. We'll see if we can get the webcam up, see the focus in Hinsey's eyes as he approaches these two. He's a really, I think emotional's the right word. He really cares about his racing, really cares about his result, and goes harder than anyone on himself when he gets something wrong. So Hinsey really wanting to recover from that first lap incident.
Yes, he's got the bit between his teeth right now as he gets a great run out of the final corner here against the Premier Esports Racing Team car there in Brian Borg, hoping that there could be a run to turn 1, but the draft that's there by Clint Shane Smith, that's just enough of an equaliser, you'd feel, Burton.
Yeah, you think so. This is one of the tracks, Sperry. I actually like your shorter tracks like this, more your goat tracks resembling the likes of sort of Winton and stuff like that in real life, where draft doesn't actually matter that much. It's less important on the aero. It's more about the driver and getting the traction, preserving the tyre, getting runs and that sort of thing. So really a cool racecraft track. So I think although, as you say, Brian Bork does have a bit of a toe, this should be pretty easy for Hinsey.
It should be pretty easy, but he's got to set it up first, and that's the big key here for Thomas HINSS, moving through the left-hand bend here and trying to get the move close. That's going to be key. Also, you've still got STOVOLD holding back the championship leader and everybody else behind, and I think everyone's pretty sick and tired of seeing the back of that green Pursuit Sim Racing car. STOVOLD is really making sure he is making his way through and holding on to his place nicely, but there's the lift off then from Brian Borg. Thomas HINSS has just been gifted a freebie, and I think Borg here, Burton, wants to use Thomas HINSS to get by Clint Shane Smith.
Possibly, but also we saw the mistake that Thomas HINSS made earlier in the race, ironically enough, by trying to go too wide down into turn. But looks like James Scott's got himself involved with Jack Boyd once again. Down the inside he goes. This is for P18. And
oh no! Round you go, and into absolute Narnia goes Jamie STOVOLD, who had been defending and defending and defending hard again. It all kicked off at turn number 1 with James Scott. They came down on the brakes into the right left-handers, and then just too deep on the brakes went James Scott. Had to use STOVOLD to make the corner, and then had to defend against Jack Boyd. The replay is up on screen for you, and then into turn number 3. This is where it all went wrong. STOVOLD down the inside, just tags the rear, and then there's the accordion of pretty much nightmares for Jamie STOVOLD.
Yeah, you got to say Jamie Stovold's really got the shorter stick there. He's given James Scott plenty of room. James just driven it a little deep and used his door to get round the corner, and then he's been pinched down at turn 3 as well. So really unlucky for Jamie Stovold, but Kurt Stenberg, as you say, he is too wide on the way up the hill with Damien Johnson now. Johnson's going to hold the inside and spin himself out.
Well, that was always going to be a tough area to hold on that inside. Stenberg will give you one car width, and if you try and extend that margin, well, he is someone who has very much grown up with the school of hard knocks, some would say. Kurt Stenberg, you don't mess with him, and Johnstone tried to, and ultimately that's the just result that he got.
Yeah, that's it. And actually, something I wouldn't mind bringing our attention to, you've caught it exactly, Sperry. Great minds think alike, hey? Madison Down has pulled a massive amount of margin in on Harley Haber. His tyres must have hit the cliff. The last couple laps, it looks like about a second in the last 3 laps here.
Oh, well, that's the hurt. You can see Harley Haber's lap times. His last 3 have been as follows: 104.9, 104.9, 105 flat. You look at Madison Down, 104.7, 104.7, 104.6. That tells you how much Madison Down has got better tyre life underneath him, because he's still matching times here, is Madison, that he was doing all the way back on lap 10 of this event, as we see a car off then in the background, and that is Steve Janssen.
Yeah, looks like we've had something go down here at turn 1. We'll try and catch a replay. It looks like it was a bit of a too-wide race between Jamie McKnight and Steve Janssen into one, and yeah, I'm not too sure what's going on there. It seems a little clumsy from McKnight, but I'm not sure. Maybe there's more to that story.
It didn't look like there was much. You can see how aggressive Jamie McKnight was being. There was contact at the final corner between those two as Janssen tried to send one up the inside of one driver, that driver being, of course, Jack Boyd. And I think that was all down to just being panicked into making that move, really. And I think Jamie McKnight was thrown out of his comfort zone at that position there, and that really didn't help matters, so to speak, the way that the race continued on. Thomas HINSS, by the way, he is through on Clint Shane Smith. He's jumped up now into 13th place. Lucky for some for Thomas HINSS at this point in time. But, of course, at the moment, lead battles on, but also still this one for 5th place. Myers and Sutton. Sutton, oh, what a run Sam Sutton's got here. He's going to go straight up the inside at the final corner. Myers gives him the room, but ultimately on the exit, Sam Sutton's got it done.
Oh, not quite. Brady's got a bit of a run here. There's still overlap. This is going to make things awkward for Sam Sutton because Brady's going to pinch him on a tighter line. He might be going over and under almost, but not quite. Sam parks the bus nicely. Going to have the move done into
Yes, he's going to have the move done. That was a great little battle there between those two, and Sutton's just going to make sure with a defence into the next right of turn 3, as that really does check up Brady Myers, and he now has to settle in behind. That is a position change. Half a second, though, at the front of the field, and now you have to look at Harley Haber when he next crosses the line. He's got 10 laps to hold one of the greats of Australian sim racing behind him.
That's it. The thing I will say, though, Sperry, is Harley Haber is very aggressive in his defence, and all season long, I feel like the story of Madison's season has been fastest in the race, but just not quite able to get there. So he looks to be on track to catch Harley Haber, but once he hits this half-second bubble, he might find it a bit harder. Another 10th that lap, but catching's one thing, passing's another, especially here at Oran Park.
Well, I wouldn't have said that it was the story of his season. I'd say it's been the story of his last 2 years in sim racing, that he has been probably the fastest man on track, but whenever he's not been in that position to go and capitalise on a race victory, Madison has just not been able to get it over the line. He has that ornate ability. He's done it so many times before, and there's a lot of people who respect Madison Down for the work that he's put in to the scene. Here comes Wayne Burke, though, by the way, on Tom Freer. Oh, a bit of contact there, side by side up to 4. And there down the inside, Wayne Burke. Oh, he's trying again for the up and under, but again, it's scouted and blocked by Wayne Burke. Good move.
Yeah, Berkey's experience. That was a well-parked bus there as well. Again, Sam Sutton looking quite fast tonight, and Berkey's on that same setup and on recovery from some first-lap dramas as well. So no surprise that he was able to put Freer in the rear view pretty quickly, and he'll now look forward to a bit of a bruised Richard Hampstead. But that battle for the lead, see, that last time by, Haber again. Once Madison seems to get within half a second these last few weeks, he just doesn't seem to be able to get any further.
No, he seemingly has found that invisible wall where he just cannot find something more. It's either that or he's just trying to scout out his opposition. Sometimes, Burton, would you say that you stayed behind for maybe a few corners, a lap or so, just to see where the driver in front of you has maybe got a fallible weakness?
Absolutely, Sperry, especially when it's a battle for the lead and you've still got 8 to go. But the truth of the matter is half a second is still a lot of time. He needs to really be on the bumper of Harley Haber. A lot of these corners around here, you've got to have a big overlap to get the move done. So as I say, catching's one thing, but passing's another. And 8 laps around here really is only 8 minutes. So Madison's time is running lower and lower.
Well, he knows what he needs to do, Madison, if he wants a win at his place, that we'll call it in terms of Australian sim racing. This is his place that he wants to win at. It's almost like seeing Arnold Palmer win at Bay Hill, and it's almost like seeing Jack Nicklaus win, for example, at Muirfield. So on the brakes, into the left, they come along and nothing doing for the moment. 3 and a bit tenths of a second. Madison's got to find the right time to strike right up to the rear. He comes along through turn number 3, and Harley now knows he is in a scrap for this race win.
Yeah, that's it. Madison's used a lot of his tyre and he's actually made a little bit of a mistake through that right-hander. That's going to give Harley a little bit more breathing room, but this race is far from over, as you state. Still 7 laps to go. Yeah, definitely. I think Madison's strong points definitely seem to be under brakes. So if he makes a move, I'm probably expecting a bit of a turn 2 or a last corner move from Madison. Turn 1, I think, is going to be pretty hard with Harley Haber. We know Harley only gives the car width when he has to. So I think Madison will probably be lining him up down at turn 3.
And the other issue is Harley Haber is someone who is very aggressive on his overtake as well. We saw it, we didn't quite see, but at the back end of the race, when he tried to get past Chris Coxhead, he copped a Scott's penalty point system of 25 points for the hit that he had. He did redress it, but he still cost him quite a bit of time. Again, Madsen down close, but it's that power application on the exit where Harley Haber again covers off himself nicely through turn number 3. Doesn't have to worry about anything more than that the longer this one goes on. On the back of Brian Borg as well, just a little bit down the order, Rob Bowden now has joined the 3-car scrap.
Yeah, that's it. Really, really excited to see this, Sperry. I feel like we've had a couple of almost battles for the lead this season, and they've eventually fizzled off, but I think we've got a real punching match on our hands.
We certainly do, and they know 6 laps to go when they cross the line. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and 36. Madsen down, trying to really open up the run here on the exit. He probably has done the most laps of anybody around this place. He knows how much it means to him if he can get this move done. Gap down to nearly a quarter of a second over the line. That's the closest it's been all race long as they head through the left-hand kink into turn 2. And again, Madsen down, just not able to put one down the inside. But this could be the run here to turn 3. Thinks about it, but thinks better of it.
Yeah, see, Madison, he's definitely knows what he's doing, but he's one of the far less aggressive drivers in the field. He'll pick his moment, and he's definitely one of those guys who would prefer to finish second cleanly than win it dirtily. So he's certainly going to think about it here. His braking looks really good into 1, 2, and 3. I think if he's confident enough to go for the dive, he could certainly get it done on Harley Haber.
I think Harley's backing Madison up here at the moment because 3/10 that last time by. Jake Maloney closing in. He's 1.6 off of this race lead right now. And maybe Harley Haber wants to see a different vehicle in this scrap, so he knows that his work may be seeing Maloney fighting against his teammate. No team orders at Trans-Tasman. If Maloney thinks he can go for second, he will at the moment. Gap comes down. It's 1.5 now between Down and Maloney. Maloney's running out of time, but Harley Haber, if he wants Maloney in that fight, he's got to back off a little bit more and hope Madsen still can't find a way through.
Yeah, Harley's making the mistakes. He was too wide off 2 there, but Madison just not quite able to capitalise. I don't think Madison needs to worry too much about Maloney, because I think Maloney and Madison would prefer see. Maloney would prefer see Madison win than Harley, but yeah, it's certainly a closing up battle at this stage. But again, Madison's running out of time. He's only got 4 laps to go here. That's 4 minutes. He doesn't have any time left. He's got to do something now.
He's got to find a way, and that's the crucial thing. A way has not been presented. There's been little chinks here and there from Harley Haber, but he's still battling away like a very, very flamboyant swordsman at this point in time, who is just wielding that rapier and just batting away enemy after enemy. But for the time being, Harley Haber gets a bit of respite. The gap pushes up back towards 0.3 of a second once again, and that's the crucial factor in terms of this one. It's also not over for 6th place at the moment, because car 22, Jordan Caruso, is closing back in the gap 0.8 between himself and Brady Meyers.
Yeah, that's it. I'm really enjoying watching Madison versus Harley down through 1, 2, and 3. Madison is so much later under brakes, and he's just late apexing so much more than what Harley is, but weirdly he's just not getting the yield on exit. I think he's just carrying too much entry, and Harley's running really tight, really tidy at the moment. I think if he wants to get it done, it's got to be a move at 1 and 2. Watch this time by. If you can see, Harley Haber runs a really, really wide line on the entry, right, whereas Madison Down really swoops in through turn 1 and runs a straighter run towards turn 2. It's a lot faster on the entry, but doesn't quite have the exit. I think it's enough to get a move done down here, but he needs to be committed.
He needs commitment, but he knows he's running out of time. 3 laps to go here at Oran Park. There is a scrap in front of them. If those two come together, that could be a factor. That's Jack Widders and Steve Janssen at the moment, and Janssen is holding on in that defense. They did that last time by 106s compared to the high 104s that were being done by Harley Haber, again defended, and Mads almost trying to get a run here up into turn 4. He may have to lunge here for one of these moves, and ultimately not going to get it up 4, but chasing up 5 and into 6. He's still hoping that there's a chance. He may just look at the final corner if he can keep just about that close.
Come on, guys. Come on, Madison. I've known Madison a long time, and he really has to have a go here. I'll be really disappointed if he doesn't. He's got the speed. He's got the car underneath him to do it. He just needs the balls to match, unfortunately, and he hasn't quite got it at the moment. We're coming up on 2 to go, and he's running out of time.
He's running out of time, but he knows he's got to find the place. Slight little slide as he goes through the final corner, trying to get the power down on the fronts, and now that gap again up 3.5 of a second now. Harley Haber just doing enough, keeping Madison down at an arm's reach. On the brakes they go. Look at how Madison closes up once again here through the left of turn number 2. And again, no chance on the exit. Another good run from the United Sim Sport car compared to the Trans-Tasman Racing Machine. It's old versus new. It's the old guard versus the new guard. There's 1.5 laps left here, Burton.
Yeah, that's it. Madison Down been mega consistent throughout his entire career, although I know he would really like to get one done here. I think he's just got to have a go. I keep saying it, but he's got to have a go. You know, he's got a fair margin back to Maloney. If he makes a mistake and gets it wrong, it's a redress away from finishing second. So I would really like to see him just have a crack and see if he can get it done.
Well, this is where you've got to try and find your mettle. Closes up again through the final corner. Really needs to maximise this exit here, does Madison Down. But again, Harley Haber right up to the wall on the right-hand side, able to cover it. White flag comes out then at Oran Park Raceway. We've got 2.6 kilometres to go. Into turn 1, into turn 2. Does Mads have a look? He's not in position, but can he open it up for turn 3? He's closer than he's been for a very long time. I think a dive may be coming here as they head to turn 3. On the brakes, slight look. Those covered just enough there by Harley Haber, who's now having to move to the middle of the road slightly to cover through turn 4, and now up the hill. Harley's just got to survive. There's one big overtaking opportunity left. That's the final corner, and now you've got to be calm here, Harley, if you want to get through. So now, here comes Madison now, who wants a win at Mads Place. He knows that at Mads Place, he's tried everything so far, but here at Oran Park, it's just not come together just yet. His chance comes at the final corner, and now for the moment, Harley Haber stretching his legs just a bit. You can't be going from that far back. Surely now it's about the runoff of the exit. Harley Haber survives and beats Mads at his own game. Wins at Oran Park.
Yeah, that's it. Great drive from Harley. You know, he's made some mistakes in the past, but to hold off Madison down for 36 laps mistake-free at a track that Madison knows inside and out and is incredibly motivated to win at. The night after a Scots race where he's all prepared is incredibly impressive from Harley. Well done to him and the United team.
Yeah, fantastic work from him. We've got Adam Briggs, who maybe thought he had a shot on James Scott, who will be coming over the line. In fact, something has happened in the last couple of laps for Rob Bowden and Clint Shane Smith that we have been away from. So those two have dropped a whole heap of time in the final few laps of this race. They have dropped many a number of positions, and this was more than 3 laps ago now at this point. So far behind they were, as they were fighting. In fact, it was at the lap 33 that Bowden and Clint Shane Smith went off together at turn 1, turn 2, dropped 2 places. But classified results, let's put them up on your screen, because Harley Haber has picked up the win in just a shade under 39 minutes here, and he's done so by half a second come the end over Madison Down. Maloney will pick up 3rd place, who was on the outside looking in, with Cooper Webster up to 4th and Sam Sutton recovering for a top 5 finish. Brady Myers would come home 6th, with Jordan Caruso up 5 places to 7th, with 8th place going to Richard Hamstead, who started on the front row but had issues early on. Wayne Burke finishes 9th, and Tom Freer rounds out the top 10.
That's it. Quiet night from Kurt Stenberg in P11, with Damian Johnson there in 12th. Thomas Hinns, we might have seen him in the webcam throughout the broadcast, managing to recover from a bit of a first corner incident in the early phases of the race for 13th. Brian Borg, 14th. James Scott, our championship leader, with his main rival Harley Haber taking a win tonight. I'm not sure if that's going to quite cost him a position in the championship, but still not a good night in the office for James Scott. Adam Briggs in 16th. Rob Bowden, Clint Shane Smith, Jack Boyd, and Justin Wallace round out your 20.
Jamie McKnight had a few incidents to speak of today. It was 21st for him. Wayne Hewitt, 22nd on a quiet ride. Jamie Stovold went a little bit backwards. He was the cork in the bottle today in 23rd, with Steve Jansen and Jack Widders fighting towards the end. Jansen coming out on top on that one. One driver a lap down was Christian Smart. Andrew Dyson, Sam Collins, and Sean Thompson were the drivers who did not classify in this race over the line. But God, that was a close fought race, a hard fought race then, in terms of the way that this circuit works. And of course, when this series is once every week, every single series now fighting incredibly hard for these results to come up here, Burton, you know that you have to be pretty much on it every single time you get in one of these vehicles.
That's it, Sperry, and I'm really excited because, speaking of being on it, we're going to be on it next week from one Aussie track to another. One no longer exists, but the next one certainly does. I believe we're headed to Phillip Island next week, my absolute favourite track in the V8 on the service, so I'm really excited. Always puts on a good show. Really good track for passing and racing, and of course a track that we absolutely love in these supercars. So really excited for next week. But don't forget, we've got our Nürburgring 24-hour here on the iRacing Esports Network this weekend. So one of the biggest events I think we'll see in sim racing. So really excited for that one too.
Absolutely, and if you do not have the chance to check it out, you can always catch it on demand. All of the work that has been put in behind the scenes towards that event from all the drivers, all the broadcasters, and all the affiliates with iRacing, you can catch that, of course, here on the iRacing Esports Network. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe if you have not already. But a massive thanks to those who get it done for us here on this one. Of course, first and foremost, you have to talk about One Motum Simulations, who have been sponsoring our replays for a little while now. They have been absolutely fantastic in terms of what they have been able to do in order to help us. From Jay Kennedy, who's been on the cameras, Jake Burton on my left-hand side. I, of course, have been Jake Sperry. And a return back to form for Harley Haber. He had to work for that one. The tyres were falling away from him. And once more, Madison Down. Close, but it's just not there. How much more does Madison need to grasp the brass ring here at Oran Park? It'll have to be another time in the future, but for now, we will see you in 1 week's time.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going in the outside of both of them. Malone
I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh, no. That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh, my God.
God, what?